Uh, it's October 13th, 2014. I'm a couple of days after my shot, which I guess makes me kind of late for doing this video. Um, I have a few things to talk about. The video is probably going to be longer than I want it to. Get stupid dog. She picks the worst times to become frisky. Just because I have a few things to cover, it'll probably be longer than it usually is. So I'll start with changes on tea. Nothing that I can really say for sure has happened. I imagine that changes are happening gradually now, which is not surprising any. So I'm not discouraged that I'm not seeing any changes or hearing any changes. I still don't hear a change in my voice, but I do still feel it here. Now, it's really, really very consistent now. My voice is coming from my chest, but I don't hear a change. I did um, listen to the very first video I did, and then the video just before this one, and I could pick up a tiny, tiny change in my voice, but I had to be really listening hard. But that's cool. It's encouraging. Um, the growth in my nether regions. I figure the reason why I'm not noticing any growth is because it's probably fairly gradual. Um, not much to speak on that. And I am getting wispy little hairs just randomly on my face. Um, I'm not even going to bother trying to show anybody because my hair is very fine and comes in very blonde. So it would be pointless to even try, but it's pretty funny, right? I have one hair, one really thick, coarse hair right there. And it's pretty long. It's definitely a whisker at this point. The rest are still just hairs, but they're getting long. I haven't shaved my face other than using, well, when I cut my hair with clippers, I'll 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 shave off peach fuzz. Um, but I think I'm going to shave my face for the first time this week. I have a friend coming in from out of town. I think I'll have her record it. And I'm just going to do it just because I'm going to miss my one whisker. But I'm curious. I kind of want to gauge the the wispy hairs, how fast they're growing in, and how long they're getting. So I want to shave it all off. So the my trip to see my family went well. I always have a good time when I see my family. Um, there weren't as many questions as I anticipated. Uh, my mom once asked me if I had noticed any changes being on testosterone. I told her not really, not so much yet. I didn't talk about my below the belt growth with my mom. I just didn't feel comfortable, but which is weird because there's it shouldn't be so hard. So, but the one thing I did share with her in hopes to maybe ease her mind a little bit is that I once shared with my therapist that I feel like testosterone has been the best antidepressant I have ever been on. And not that I've been on many, I've actually only been on once, but on two different occasions. I started one and then I stopped and then I started again. And now I have stopped again. and uh, but being on T has just been fantastic. I still don't have a problem giving myself an injection, no hesitation. Uh, I look forward to it. And as the day gets closer, I get kind of excited and jazzed at work. And since I'm not at work, I mean, I'm not out at work, the guys at work are trying to figure out what it is I do every other Friday that makes me so excited. Um, Eventually they'll find out because I need to come out soon. So, yeah, and since I'm on the subject of work, work has been freaking crazy because there were a couple of guys who got in trouble. I work security for a hospital. On I work the graveyard shift. On the swing shift, there were a couple of guys who mishandled a situation, and they ended up getting fired after an investigation. One of those guys happens to be the supervisor. I put in for that position. I haven't heard anything yet, but it's still early. So we've been shorthanded, and a lot of us have been working overtime, and I'm too old to work 16-hour shifts. I was recently reminded of that. And now I come back from my trip visiting my family to find out that my shift now is under investigation for um, I don't know, somebody made an anonymous call making allegations of some racial favoritism or something, and possibly another one having to do with sexuality. And so uh, it the investigation initially started as a cultural assessment of the shift, and has now turned into a much larger investigation with somebody being suspended because um, they've made threats against staff to hurt or kill that other staff. So it just got out of hand. So it's pretty stressful at work. I imagine once the dust settles, I'll know more about my application status. So today, school's back for me. I I'm working on my master's in counseling. I am in class at 10 weeks at a time, and then I get a 3-week break. My next class just started. Not excited about it because it pretty much means I won't have a life for the next 10 weeks between working nights and then coming home and doing schoolwork online and sleeping. But it's important to me. I'm trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. Um, I think I mentioned this briefly. Just reiterate that I have contacted Dr. Crane and Dr. Satterwright's office for top surgery. I filled out the initial paperwork. I need to do a phone consult, and I initially wanted to get my top surgery done in March before some changes at work take effect, because we are being acquired by another organization which is larger, and there are going to be changes in the way they do medical leave. And I thought that I had until July before those changes took effect, but apparently now they're going to take effect at the first of the year, which means I won't have the time to take uh, off for recovery. So, and I don't know anything for sure at this time, but I may have to put off my surgery, which doesn't excite me because I wanted to get it done in March so that when I celebrated my 40th birthday in April, I could do it in a new body. And so I'm a little discouraged about that, but I'm not going to let it bring me down too much. Worst case scenario, maybe I have to do it for Christmas, a Christmas present for myself next year. So, but that's where that's at. I'm still gonna schedule a phone consult soon and see what happens after the first of the year. Who knows? Maybe even after the first of the year, maybe my insurance will now cover. I don't know. Whatever. Let's off of that subject. So, some things are just really going good, and I'm gonna briefly talk about meeting someone this last weekend. No, not this last weekend. The weekend before, when after I came back from my trip. Um, I, I might be a little vague about it because there are certain things that I don't think would be appropriate to discuss here. The point I want to try to make is that I met somebody who um, didn't know when we met, didn't know that I was female to male. Immediately didn't know anyway. It wasn't hard for her to figure out. But that being said, she only knows me as Logan. She doesn't know me before. And so it's weird and good because I get to be around her as as someone, as sorry, as Logan, as the guy that I want to be. There's no history there. She doesn't know. And so it's kind of strange. I'm liking it. Um, she likes me. We're spending a lot of time together. But so I'm not quite sure what to do because I can be so much more myself than ever before, and it's a weird feeling for me. And so I, I, I thought this would be easier to talk about, but it obviously is not coming out as well as I thought it would. But yeah, so it's just strange. Excuse me. I'm more free to be true and authentic um, with her than anybody else because sometimes anybody who knew me before transition and now they have that the files to go back on, and if I do something that was out of character pre-transition, they can go, but wait a second, and call me out on it, even though it shouldn't matter at this point because I'm working on being a more authentic self. So I don't have that with her because we are starting brand new, and so it's pretty cool. She doesn't like. I have other friends who've come out, who I've come out to, and in text message or whatever, they'll still say, "Hey, girly, what's up?" And I'm like, ugh. But with this girl I met, it's text messages. It's Logan. She calls me handsome often, and it just it feels fantastic. It's kind of surreal, and I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate through that. But it's pretty awesome. I mean, so, so um, I'm only 2 doses into my 200 milligrams, so maybe. Oh, my hair is falling out. No, no, just kidding. We'll see. More changes or something. I don't know. And I think that the next step I want to take is a legal name change. Um, I have all the information as far as the steps I need to take. I have all that with me. I have, I think I have all the proper documentation um, to go into the courts and request a legal name change and change so that I can change my gender marker on my driver's license. So hopefully I find time to squeeze that in. Um, but we'll see. I guess I'm done. I'm done babbling. Sorry the video is so long. But have a great week.